all-new episode of the Jeremy White Podcast, Tuesday at noon. Available wherever you stream. Catch up on past interviews and episodes on demand now. Subscribe so you don't miss any of it.
Hey.
Yo, what's up?
How you doing, man?
What's happening?
You have a red glow to you.
I know. It's better. It's better I look like this or else I look pasty white. So I go with the red skin Indian over here.
Okay.
Oh, man. How's it going, man? Geez, long time no see. Last time I saw you, I think we were like off our asses on Sammy's Tequila in the back of your bus listening to some music.
Yeah, boy. It's great. Crazy world, man. Just trying to get back in this groove, which has been kind of crazy. But, we're doing the best we can under the circumstances. But how you doing, man? Everything good?
Yeah, all good over here. I've just been digging this brand new album. So the band came out on Frontiers Records, available now wherever music is sold. Make sure you go pick up the vinyl because there's all kinds of limited edition versions of it available. From Night Ranger, Mr. Brad Gillis, everybody. There he is. Look at the man.
Hey,
what a sexy beast. Usually I'm used to seeing you with the Strat or something on, but you're naked today.
Hold on. I got my red Strat, man. I'll show it to you.
Nice.
Look, it's plump. This is a Japanese gift back from the 80s, and I've had it hanging in my studio forever, man. And
you've held on to it.
Kind of flimsy, but see, I'm into that whole black and red thing you got going on in the background, Jeremy. So
right, we're twinning.
My colors, man.
Yeah, we're twinning today. Did you back in the day? Would you get like all kinds of crazy gifts like that on the road when you travel?
Oh yeah, I mean, especially Japan. They love to give you gifts. In fact, that's my favorite place to play and perform. And we're going back there next year. Every time we release a record, they have us come out and we do. Last time we were there a couple years ago, we did 3 shows in Tokyo, then Osaka, Nagoya, Fukuoka, all those places. But we're going back, and I think we're doing more this time. I don't know. People are digging the record there, and yeah. Japan's great, man. Food's great. People are great. Riding that bullet train.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
I've always wanted to go to Japan. It's like one place that I need to get to. And it's like everybody talks about just how awesome it is.
Yep. It's awesome, man. Hopefully things will lighten up by the time we get over there. I'm not sure of the dates, but I know it's 2022.
Can you get around Tokyo without even speaking Japanese? Do they speak English over there? They
teach English in school. Mm-hmm. I think it's required that they learn basic English. So right. Yeah, everybody is there's so many American tourists over there and businessmen. They got to be able to tell people where to go, what to do.
And I mean, for Western music to be so big over there, it's like I guess it would have to understand a little bit of English, right?
Yeah, a classic example is Cheap Trick doing Budokan live in Budokan, man.
Yeah.
But everybody, all the bands love to go there. And like I said, I can't wait to go back. And the memories, first time I went over there was with my brother in the early 70s. I was just a little kid, and my dad was a pilot and flew over there and dropped my brother and me off. Oh, and nice. He did his rounds for a couple of days. My brother, 7 years older than me, took me to the Honda factory. And we took the first time I took the bullet train, went to the Honda factory, and man, they showed us around. And my brother rode motocross and stuff back then, but they took us in and showed us around, and then all the Japanese workers in their little white suits and gloves, and did the Honda motors coming by, and it's like, wow, it was amazing. And then on the way back, we went up to Mount Fuji and explored Mount Fuji, and then we're coming back on a train. And all Japanese, my brother and me in one side of the corner, one side of the train car. And on the other end was some long-haired American. And we're like, hey, how you doing? He goes, hey. So we ended up hanging out with him and took us to his house and pretty much got us, told us where to go for the best places for shopping and electronics and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious. You just run into a random American somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Like, hey, how you doing?
hey, American, yeah.
He taught English in a Japanese school. It was amazing. He got paid well and he knew fluent Japanese, but he taught English. And I thought it was kind of crazy. But then I went with Ozzy, first time in 82, second time, first time with Ozzy in 82. Then Night Ranger's been there 13, 14 times. And I think one of the fans showed us pretty much the statistics of us going over there. And I think we've played 55 shows and been there, 14 times, something like that. So,
yeah, that's a lot. I mean, it's probably not a record, but it's close to it. That's a lot of shows.
Yep.
Damn. Talking about when you were touring with Ozzy, what was your guitar rig like on that tour? Because I was listening back to one of those live albums, and man, the cool thing about you is that, because I'm a guitar player as well, and it's really nice to hear like a real pleasurable sounding guitar tone. Can you talk a little bit about that rig at the time? Do you remember what you were using?
Yeah, I was using boogies, and my guitar.
Boogies? What?
Yeah, I was using boogies, man. I came out. That's right when boogies came out, and they set me up. And Randy at Boogie set me up and knew I was going on the Ozzy tour. And I played those through Marshall Bottoms, low wattage speakers. But I had this stereo setup, 2 heads, and then I had a 10, 12 millisecond delay between one head and the other, which gave it this stereo effect, and a very slight chorus on it. And of course, on Speak of the Devil, the live record I did, Black Sabbath material, that was panned it right and left and got that sound. But it was loud, man. I cranked it up. Everything about Ozzy was loud back then. After the first show I played with him, I had to wear earplugs, before in-ear monitors. I had to wear earplugs the rest of the tour because it was so freaking loud, man.
Even the stage volume was like blistering.
It was unbelievable. And, I don't know if you remember the big, huge A7 cabinets, Altic A7s, huge, big horn. And
I've seen pictures.
Those were the side fills, like 4 of them on the sides blasting, and then the monitors in front of you. So it was a crazy loud time back then. But, doing the playing at the Ritz, doing the cover, doing the Black Sabbath stuff for Speak of the Devil, I kept that rig cranked, and got that sound. So that's how that was done.
Right. So I mean, thinking back, I mean that's 82, right? That album.
Yeah, 1882.
Yeah, 1882. It's weird because you talk about how you had the stereo setup going. That was sort of like in its infancy at the time because nobody was really doing that except for like Steve Lukather, sort of Eddie was kind of like going that route with his tone later on in 84, like trying to experiment with like the micro pitch, kind of like putting a delay on one side faster and then lowering it on the other, making like a chord. Like, where did you get the idea to do that kind of sound?
I don't know. I just, working with Mark Newman, my tech at the time, he's the rock star tech. He's been with everybody, us through the heyday, and I Arranger went on with the Damn Yankees, ZZ Top, everybody. Now he's, he's with Michael Jackson. When Michael passed, the rehearsing for that tour, Michael Jackson's, now he's with Kiss. He does guitars for Kiss. So anyway, rock star roadie, Mark Newman, but great guy, best buddy. We were just fiddling around for this, doing the Speak of the Devil record, and I knew it was going to be, pretty much bass, drums, and guitar, keyboards, and pretty raw. I mean, so I wanted it big, man. We just started goofing around with these sounds and came up with that at our rehearsal at SIR, Studio Instrument Rentals in New York City, before we went into the Ritz, and came up with that sound, and it translated well on the record.
And I think it kind of influenced everybody else because everybody heard it like, oh shit, hey, stereo guitar. Wow, my guitar is just not like, if the left speaker's blown out in the car, well, at least I can still hear my guitar on the right speaker.
There you go. Yeah, man, it was kind of cool. And, I really don't use that with an Arranger because we have 2 guitar players and that would translate well. So, I got 2 mics on the cabinet and 1 cabinet and get that big sound that way. But it worked well with Ozzy.
Right.
Hey, I got something for you.
Yeah. Let's see it.
Go. There you
go.
Oh, now we're cooking with gas.
Look at that.
So there you go.
There it is.
All beat up from belt buckles, and these are all from my metal pick. I can use a metal pick.
You're a metal pick guy too?
Yeah, man. I've been using them for 25, 30 years, man, and it's really good with of course I don't have one in front of me. What's good about it is the
right when you do the picks
it on the strings, it's pretty awesome. But
yeah, well, Phil Collins, the Def Leppard guys swear by the metal picks. I mean, he said even when they were doing Hysteria, like it had a huge impact on the guitar tones of the album just because of like the metallicness with the. Are you using fixed strings too?
Yeah, it doesn't beat up my strings, man. That's the one thing about it. It doesn't break strings or eat them up too much. Now, when we were touring with Def Leppard, Phil and I just we traded guitars and we're goofing off and both showed each other's metal picks and had a little bit in common there. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. So that Strat, I mean, what's going on there? What kind of what's the main pickup you're using in that thing?
Well, I went through a few. I used to use PJ.
I can imagine how many you've gone through the years, but it's like...
Well, no, they don't blow up or anything. I mean, I just kind of replaced a few, and I use PJ Marks pickups, but they don't make them anymore, but you can find them here and there, but I kind of collect those. But I've been using a Seymour Duncan JB model. That works well. Original 62 pickup in the middle position and a Seymour Duncan a stack pot for the neck position, but I kind of go through. Sometimes I move things, change things around, and I got a couple copies of this guitar on the road. And we have two rigs. We have a East Coast and a West Coast rig, which enables us to be able to go play here and have trucks go either direction to have our own equipment. Though the worst nightmare for any band is rental gear. You never know. It's like a box of chocolates. Never know what you're gonna get. So basically, since we have the two rigs, I have copies of my Red Strat and a few of my Fernandez Brad Gillis models that they made in the 80s and play those. Those are great guitars, man. Yeah. They made 100 of them back in 85-ish.
Did they have the sustainer in it?
Yeah, no, they didn't. They had a preamp built in it, a little switcher, not the Sustainiac. It had a preamp built in it. In fact, here hold on, I got one over here. Oh, well, here's one, but this isn't the BG model. This is another one that they just pretty much copied my guitar. But
right,
I collect those original Floyd Roses.
Yeah, because that looks like an original Floyd on that. There's no fine tuners on it.
No, every Floyd I own on every guitar I own has no fine tuners. It doesn't translate well on the stuff I do, flicking the bar and doing this, and so I never got in the fine tuners. But I have the whole tuning thing down for fine tuners. I mean, any guitar player out there, not hardly anybody uses a Floyd without fine tuners, but if you tighten it down, sharp. You tighten it down and go sharp. You got to make sure that little bar behind the nut is at a perfect position. So when you tighten it, it doesn't go sharp or flat. But if it does go sharp, when you tune it, just tune it a little flat. So when you tighten it, it goes in.
Exactly.
So there's little ways around it. But I've been, I got the third Floyd Rose ever built by Floyd in his garage. And that's how I got started with them. And in 1978, man, Eddie came out and I was playing with Jack Blaze in a band called Rubicon. And, I had a 57 Strat at one point and the thing wouldn't stay in tune, man. Right. I ended up trading it for my early 70s Black Les Paul Custom, which I used with Ozzy. And I had a Floyd Rose put in that. But
what year was
Eddie
that?
Came out, I wanted to start using the bar and get one of those Floyd Roses. And sure enough, Eddie got the first one, Neal Schon got the second one. And the third one was at this store in San Francisco called Don Weir's Music City. And I called them up and they said, yeah, we got the third one. They aren't cheap. So I went down there and I traded a white Les Paul Custom for a Floyd Rose, the nut, and they added a 22nd fret on my guitar in their little workshop in there, and everybody thought I was crazy, but I'll tell you, man, that defined my sound. I started getting into it and goofing off, and then one day I was fiddling around and working on my stage moves, and I banged the guitar, and it went, what the hell was that?
Right.
And then I kind of narrowed it down to the tremolo. Of course, it's floating, it goes up and down, and it was shaking when I flicked the end of the bar, and I went, well, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So that, and Eddie, you do the harmonic dive bombs. I started doing harmonic pull-ups, and which are the last two notes on my Don't Tell Me You Love Me solo, where I go, flick the bar and pull up the harmonic.
You pull it up. Right. Interesting. So it's funny you talk about the Les Paul with the Floyd in it, because I was talking to Neal Schon and I asked him straight out, I was like, Neal, who was the first person to put a Floyd in a Les Paul? Was it you or was it Alex Lifeson? And he's like, it was me. Gibson stole my idea and they gave it to Alex, and then Alex started playing it. So it's cool to hear that you also had it going on too.
I was the first one.
That's what I was going to put. That's what I was getting at. So you were the first to put the Floyd in the Les Paul.
There was Floyd just came out with them, and I wanted to put one in my Les Paul, and no one had ever done it before. And when I took it to Stars Guitars, this awesome place in San Francisco that did expert repairs for the big boys, they said, "Hey, Brad, we've never seen or done this before. We're not sure how it's going to turn out.
How's this even going to work?"
And I had to get hold of Floyd, and he had to send me the right size nut to fit the Les Paul neck. And they did it. And Floyd had to send me a newly finished schematic for installing in a Les Paul. And I left my guitar there, and they weren't sure how it was going to turn out, which was scary for me, but I got it back, and it was great. And, then everybody else did it.
It's amazing because we're talking about amp tones and putting Floyds in Les Pauls, and your name doesn't come up often enough when it comes to these innovative kind of things, and it's interesting to hear from you.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up now.
Yeah.
I'm fashionably late to the party.
Well, it's about time because you need to get the respect you deserve. Jeez.
Oh, good, man. We got a great album that's out now, man. That's all. I'm just glad to be with the same band for 40 years. Have this great new record that came out that's getting great reviews, and we're all excited about it. And it's doing very well, more than anybody would have expected.
Are you surprised that it's doing as well as it is?
Well, you never know. I mean, they say, classic rock is a dying breed, and you got, every station around the country, is classic rock, and they're just playing all the old classic, songs that everybody grew up with, and they're not really playing anything new. Then when, Journey or AC/DC or anybody comes out with a new record, they pretty much pop it on their classic rock station for a week or two, then you don't hear it again. Which will happen to us. But the thing to get notoriety and mention is awesome. Gosh, come on, Jeremy, you watch the music awards. You might have the Foo Fighters on there.
Well, they're the token rock band, or you get somebody. If Greta Van Fleet are lucky because they had Justin Bieber back in them. I mean, other than that.
Well, it's glad that the kind of rock is coming back and getting airplay and doing well. But it's tough out there for any band, especially bands like us. But the good thing is we're still together. We're touring. We got new records coming out. We're doing the best we can under the situation.
And the cool thing about this record, so it's called "And the Band Played On," by the way. It's available now wherever music is sold. I love the fact that it's extremely melodic, and it sounds like Brad. It sounds like Night Ranger, because everybody's rock today. Everybody's afraid of going back to being melodic. You listen to, like I said, the Greta Van Fleets and like some of the newer rock bands, and it's like everybody's afraid of having big drums and big guitars. And I always say there's almost like a stigma around sort of the melodic hard rock. And it's really nice to hear you guys still playing that stuff. And what do you think about like today's rock scene in a way? Do you agree with that?
What rock scene?
Well, I mean,
like bands like Greta Van Fleet. I mean, I'm glad
when you look at the Struts. At least the Struts are bringing back a little bit of glam and stuff. But it's like all the other bands that I hear on like modern rock, especially in Canada. It's like there's some bands like the Arkells and like everybody. It's just so indie and it's just so like pretentious. And, like I'm waiting for fun rock to come back.
Yeah, well, we all are, but to be in there, somewhere in the mix is good for us. But we've always done great touring, man. We get these great shows, great bills with other great bands, and we're lucky to be on, out doing, Rockfest, Summerfest, the 3-4 day
well, that tour you guys did with Sammy and the Circle, I mean, that was my favorite concert of 2019. That was phenomenal that night.
Yeah, Jeremy, dude, we had 42 shows with Sammy Hagar, Whitesnake, Night Ranger doing amphitheaters, and we got shut down last summer. So it's kind of what it is. But do
you think that tour will get rebooked at some point?
I don't know, man. Hopefully it will. We'll see. But things have kind of moved around for all the bands. In fact, we're trying to figure out, our next move now, whether we should back off because of everything going on. We got to
everybody's canceling left and right. It's like one after another. It's
coming down that way for us too.
Yeah. Talk about your guitar rig on this. So did you do it through Amplitude or some fake amps or Logic, or was this a nice, 412 and a real head?
I did everything, man. You can see I collect guitars and amps, so I got quite a bit to choose from here. I definitely this is my downstairs where I keep my amps and stuff like that, and this is where I mic up my cabinets, and they all end up going up to another room where my computer and everything is. So I'm sitting in another room.
So you're in the live room.
And down here, it's cranking the sound, and so I used boogies and Marshalls, and of course a guitar rig, and I got this little Boss box that I've had for years, a GS-10, I think it is. Is it the
GT10, the silver one?
No, it's an older one. It's smaller. It's not a foot pedal. It's a home unit. It's not pedals for live. GS-10, I'm pretty sure it is. And that has some great sounds in it. But I have I have this unit, radio unit that Steve Vai and a lot of people use. You plug right into it, and it has 6 outs. So those outs can go on one in my Boss box, and the other one will go in direct to do guitar rig, and the other one will go out into a head of my choice, into a cabinet of my choice downstairs here, and I can mix and match. But you can't get too deep, and you get into phasing issues and all this stuff. So you gotta, it's a lot of work to get it where you want it, but I got it down. But I did things like, since I collect a lot of, let's see. Oh, there's a bunch of my old Fenders, and see that's that one on the right hand corner there. That's a 59 Bassman.
Wow,
the real deal. 1952. The one on top there, the high one, is a Les Paul amp, Gibson Les Paul amp. And then my old, I got a bunch of, blackface Fenders and stuff. But what I did on Hero, Can't Afford a Hero, is I went through a 57 Strat through my 65 blackface Fender Deluxe Reverb, just to get that classic sound. So many records back in the day, there were, that combination was so iconic. But I used that on this record. For that song, and I use that 57 Strat on a couple of. I use different guitars and stuff, but I use my red 62 Strat and things, and I had a Les Paul gold top. I got a 52 gold top. It's awesome, dude.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
P90s, no serial number, 52 first year, and that's where that amp I just showed you. That's the mate to it. They kind of came together back in the day.
Wow. So that's kind of like the pair.
It's just awesome, man. But I'm a vintage guitar and amp collector, and God, I wish I would have collected back in the 80s when I was touring the country, to pick up all these iconic guitars like 59 Les Paul and standards and stuff like that. But I wasn't into collecting until like 22, 23 years ago. I got into it. But it's fun. It's one of my major hobbies on the side.
Yeah. I mean, look, some people like cars and motorcycles. Some people like guitars. Some people like trading cards.
I like cars and guitars.
There you go. What's wrong with that? You don't have a Rockman laying around, do you?
Yes, I do. In fact, I have a Rockman. In fact, when we toured with Boston, I went and checked out his rig, the old guitar rig he had going on there with all the Rockmans and everything in there. And then all of it was for show.
Right.
Tom Schultz, a lot of it was show and bright lights going and everything, but it was all the original Rockman in this big, huge, they'd kind of built it up, but pretty amazing. We all had one back in the day. I mean, that was when Boston came out in the was 73, 4, whenever they came out. I forget exactly when. I remember 75 I was playing.
Yeah, I think it was mid-70s, like 75.
Yeah, but I tell you, man, I was, totally into it and playing all their stuff, and that sound was cool. But there's so many sounds to work with these days that, I like the basic sound, the big rock sound, the boogie through a Marshall, that's my sound.
That's the Brad Gillis sound, boogie through a Marshall.
Well, that's how we recorded, the first 3, big Night Ranger records, using a boogie through Marshalls,
Well, before we run out of time, I got one more question for you. Just to go back to like thinking about like the writing sessions for like Sister Christian and all that stuff. It's like I look at the writing credits and okay, it's Kelly Keagy, but it's always blown my mind how, you know, you wrote the guitar solo on that song. Well, how come you don't get a songwriting credit on the song?
What about those Raiders? Oh, they moved to Vegas. Damn it.
You know what I mean? It's
it was a sticky issue back then, you know. Mm-hmm. Basically, it was all about, you know, if you write a song, you know, the chord changes and the lyrics, there's your song. Everything else is icing on the cake. It's kind of what it was. I won't get into it, but that's how
it worked. It was basically like you write the song and everything around it. Well, then, you know, that's just, we're in the band.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like I said, it was a sticky situation back then, but, you know, I mean, all the records we've been doing lately, we just split everything evenly and we just, so there's nobody, you know, taking control of anything, but, you know, and that's how it should be. But the thing is, when I arranged her back in the day, we all split the publishing and that was huge, you know, and, you know, if somebody came in with a song, we still split the publishing 5 ways back in the day.
Wow.
So, you know, so that was a good thing. And publishing, believe you me, that's huge.
Yeah, because I mean, publishing is kind of like the reason a lot of bands break up in the end. They're like, well, you're not writing shit, so no cut for you. Anyways, and the band played on, available now wherever music is sold. You go pick up the vinyls. There's all kinds of limited edition color versions, CD. Go stream it, download it, do what you got to do. But listen, if you go see Night Ranger, you're not going to be able to get Brad to sign your Spotify or Apple Music. You got to get the vinyl or the CD. You know? Can't sign an MP3.
Hopefully we could bring people backstage for meet and greets because we haven't been able to do that. You know,
oh man.
And the thing is, we've been doing all these shows, but you know, we just played Vegas this last weekend. You know, everybody's got masks backstage. Everybody's trying to protect themselves. You take them off when you go on stage, but you're a good 15 feet, 20 feet away from the audience. You know, we're doing our part. You're trying to keep it safe, but then again, you know. The audience, you know.
And then somebody gets upset. Brad, we've been friends since 1982. Where's my laminate? How come I'm not backstage? It's locked down, buddy. Like, did you see what Kiss is doing?
I'll let you know when you can come back.
Yeah. Did you see what Kiss is doing? Kiss is doing meet and greets behind plexiglass. So I was like,
hey. you know, Gene, he'll come up with any way to make that dollar. You know, they are marketing kings on what they're doing. And we got the Kiss cruise coming up, you know, I mean, who knows if that's going to happen. It's over, you know, it's coming up here in a couple months and who knows, man.
Yeah.
That's our second Kiss cruise. We went out on tour with them when we just came out in 83, had a whole big run with Kiss. And that's when we got to know them. They were great guys and good friends. And then, you know, now we're doing our second cruise. Hopefully that'll happen. But they're great guys and they know how to market.
No, they know what they're doing. Last but not least, let's wrap up. We just lost and got the news about an hour ago that Charlie Watts from the Rolling Stones passed away.
Yeah.
You have any memories of Charlie? Did you ever run into them on the road back in the day, or?
Well, we never played with them, but I've seen them, of course, live. And you know, growing up as a kid, I was, you know, playing Satisfaction and playing Brown Sugar in a band, and they influenced everybody because, you know, when the Beatles, the Stones, and the Animals, man, when they came out in 64-ish, you know, that's right when I, you know, got my first guitar when I was 8 years old. And, you know, I was playing all that stuff, you know, that was the iconic radio songs to learn and play back then. I had my first band when I was 10 and, you know, and we were playing all that music. So it's sad, you know, Dusty Hill, you know, Charlie Watts, and geez, man, it's tough, but you know, wow, people are getting old, you know, it's kind of what it is, man.
People are getting old. Dude was 80. I'm sure he didn't live the healthiest life on the road either. So, hey.
He was probably the healthiest one in the band.
To be fair, I mean, he did look it, and then he was the first, like, real, like, big guy to go. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
How the hell is Keith still chugging along?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But anyway.
All right, buddy. Hey, Jeremy, great to talk to you. I got more interviews going on. Thanks for having me. And let's hook up when things mellow out.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. We'll talk more shop. It'll be great.
Thanks, Jeremy.
All right. See you later, Brad.
Yeah, man.
Peace.
An all-new episode of the Jeremy White Podcast, Tuesday at noon. Available wherever you stream. Catch up on past interviews and episodes on demand now. Subscribe so you don't miss any of it.